The room went silent the moment she pulled her hand back. Everyone saw it. Elena Whitmore, young, polished, the celebrated CEO of a rising tech empire, stood at the center of the conference hall. Her posture flawless, her smile rehearsed, but her hand never met his. Across from her stood Mr. Isaiah Brooks, an elderly black investor whose quiet reputation in the financial world was matched only by the depth of his wisdom. For a fraction of a second, time held its breath. Then Elena adjusted her blazer, gave a tight nod, and turned away as if nothing had happened. But something had, and everyone felt it. Elena had built her life on precision. From the moment she graduated top of her class to the day she took over Whitmore Innovations, she had followed a strict rule. Never show weakness, never lose control, and never associate with anything that might make investors doubt her authority. To her, perception was everything. So when she saw Isaiah Brooks, older, modestly dressed, walking with a cane, she didn't see a powerful investor. She saw risk. And in that split-second decision, she chose distance over dignity. The meeting continued. Numbers were discussed, deals hinted at, but something intangible had shifted. The room felt colder. Even Elena noticed it, though she refused to name it. Meanwhile, Isaiah Brooks said nothing. He simply gathered his papers, offered a polite smile to those around him, and quietly left the room. No confrontation, no anger, just silence. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She replayed the moment over and over again. The hesitation, the subtle recoil, the way his eyes had softened, not with anger, but with something worse, disappointment. She shook it off. It was nothing, she muttered to herself. Just a misunderstanding. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Still, business was business, and the next day would remind her just how fragile that belief was. 8:07 a.m. Subject line, investment decision. Final notice. Elena opened it with confidence, expecting confirmation of a multi-million-dollar deal that would propel her company to the next level. Instead, her breath caught. We regret to inform you that we will not be proceeding with the investment. After careful consideration, we have chosen to redirect our resources elsewhere. She frowned. This didn't make sense. Within minutes, her assistant rushed in, pale and shaken. Ma'am, it's not just them. What do you mean? 3 other firms just pulled out, and, she hesitated, they're all connected. Elena's stomach tightened. Connected? To who? There was only one answer. Isaiah Brooks. By noon, the news had spread across the industry. Whitmore Innovations, once the darling of the market, was suddenly unstable. Investors began questioning her leadership. Stocks dipped. Board members demanded explanations. Elena sat at her desk, staring at the city skyline she once felt she owned. Now, it felt like it was slipping away, all because of a handshake. No, not because of a handshake, because of what it represented. For the first time in years, Elena felt something she couldn't control. Regret, heavy, unrelenting, and deeply personal. That afternoon, she did something she never thought she would do. She went looking for him. Isaiah Brooks lived in a quiet neighborhood far from the glass towers of downtown. His home was simple, surrounded by a small garden that looked lovingly tended. Elena stood at the gate for a long moment, her confidence nowhere to be found. This wasn't a boardroom. There were no scripts here, just truth. She took a deep breath and knocked. When he opened the door, his expression was calm, as if he had expected her. Mr. Brooks, her voice faltered. I'm sorry to come unannounced. He nodded gently. You're here now. That's what matters. The simplicity of his response only made it harder. I came to apologize, she said, her voice trembling despite her effort to steady it. What I did yesterday, it was wrong. He studied her for a moment, not with judgment, but with quiet understanding. Why? He asked softly. The question caught her off guard. Why? What? Why was it wrong? Elena hesitated. Because it cost me everything, she almost said, but something stopped her. That's not the answer you're looking for, is it? She admitted. Isaiah shook his head, so she tried again. Because I didn't see you, she said slowly. Not really. I saw assumptions, and I acted on them. There it was, the truth, raw and uncomfortable. Isaiah stepped aside, inviting her in. His home was filled with photographs, moments of life, family, history. On one wall, Elena noticed something that made her pause. A photo of a younger Isaiah standing beside some of the most powerful figures in finance. Her assumptions crumbled instantly. You built more than I ever realized, she whispered. Isaiah smiled faintly. Most people only see what they expect to see. They sat across from each other in a quiet living room, the tension slowly giving way to something deeper. I didn't pull those investments to punish you, Isaiah said after a moment. Elena looked up surprised. I did it, he continued, because leadership isn't just about numbers, it's about character. And yesterday, you showed me a version of yourself that wasn't ready for what you're building. His words didn't feel like an attack. They felt like a lesson, a hard one. Tears welled in Elena's eyes, something she hadn't allowed in years. I've worked so hard to get here, she said. I thought strength meant never making mistakes. Isaiah shook his head gently. Strength isn't about perfection, he said. It's about what you do after you fall short. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Elena did something that surprised even herself. She stood up and extended her hand. This time there was no hesitation, no calculation, just sincerity. I can't undo what I did, she said, but I can choose to be better, starting now. Isaiah looked at her hand, then at her face, and slowly, he reached out and took it. The handshake was simple, but its meaning was profound, because this time it wasn't about business. It was about humanity. The next morning, the industry woke up to unexpected news. Isaiah Brooks had not only reinstated his investment, he had doubled it. But that wasn't what made headlines. It was his statement. True leadership is not measured by how high we rise, but by how willing we are to grow. Yesterday I saw a mistake. Today I see a leader learning from it. Elena stood in her office, reading those words with a quiet sense of gratitude. Her company would recover. But more importantly, she had changed. From that day forward, Elena Whitmore became known for something far greater than her business success. She became known for how she treated people. Every handshake mattered. Every interaction carried intention. Because she had learned, in the most humbling way, that respect is not a strategy. It's a choice. And sometimes, the smallest gesture can reveal the biggest truth. Years later, when asked about the turning point in her career, Elena never mentioned the investments or the deals. She spoke about a moment, a missed handshake, and the man who taught her that true power isn't in being seen as important, but in making others feel seen. Because in the end, success built on pride can crumble in a day, but success built on humanity can change lives forever.